Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and good day. Whenever you are listening to this podcast, you are on the new Blurt. I am the Kegster, host of the new Blurt, and I'm coming to you from Wurundjeri country, the Kulin Nation of the Woiwurrung people. Sovereignty was never ceded and is and always will be Aboriginal land. On the show tonight, we've got COVID. We haven't done COVID for a while. And it's something that we've been doing on the show since episode 1, basically. And it's come a long way. It's come a long way from, oh, my God, have you heard of this COVID, to, oh, my God, can you believe we've got millions of cases, and to, oh, my God, we've got millions of strains and streams, and now we've got monkeypox. What the hell? So, So anyway, we'll discuss a few things about that tonight. Wency's going to talk about if you haven't had COVID yet, or have you? That's the question, you see. I have. So that's not a problem. I can definitely tell you I've had COVID. That's no problems there. And it wasn't terrible. I'd had 3 shots. So, I think that's the key. If you do get COVID, you want to have 3 shots beforehand. So, no, not 3 shots of whiskey or anything. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying you need to have your 3 vaccine shots, whichever they are, Moderna or was it Novavax? What's the other one? I can't remember. It's gone right out of my head. I can't remember. Hydroxychloroquine? No, probably don't do that. Anyway, and I'm going to talk about more than half of the destinations remain high of COVID risk, the CDC says. And the CDC is basically the national sort of medical, authority, if you like, in America that sort of makes their rules. Like we have our national cabinet, and then we have the sort of the national health officer, if you like, which I think was someone Kelly or something. I can't quite remember. They have that in America. It's called the CDC, and they also have to do with regulating, I think, what drugs are allowed to go on the markets and those sort of things, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, that is what the CDC are saying. And it's interesting because Gauci at the time, who is a world-renowned epidemiologist, and he was there for the bird flu, swine flu outbreaks a while ago. So he's very good in this space. Anyway, him and the CDC had lots of interesting conversations that weren't always complimentary, let's say. So anyway, they are saying that more than half the destinations remain high. They're talking about the rest of the world from America's point of view, so we'll talk about that. Anyway, enough of that. We've also got Blurt on Blighty tonight, which is all about what's happening in the UK. I am going to talk about something that people will be very surprised about, which is that barristers in England do not get paid anywhere near, criminal barristers don't get paid anywhere near as much as you think they may get paid. And believe it or not, I know it's hard to believe, but actually some junior barristers are living on the poverty line. So I know it's very, very hard to believe, but we will go into that in greater detail. And Wency is going to do the fun stuff. He's going to talk about the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which is the premier international festival of the year. The second one is probably the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. They say that's pretty much number 2 in the world. They do sort of, the Americans may say, or the Canadians might say, that Just for Laughs Festival in Canada will be number 2, but I can quite categorically tell you that Melbourne International Comedy Festival is definitely a firm number 2. But and no puns on that, thank you very much. And Edinburgh International Festival is sensational. I've been quite a few times, so it'll be interesting what Wency's got to talk about on that one. And then we will wrap the show up with great people that did stuff. It's always an awesome segment. Really enjoy it. Always learn something. Tonight we're going to be learning about Daphne Seeney, and I don't want to tell you anything about her yet, but she is a great person that did things. and we're going to be talking about Penny Wong and Angie Extravaganza. Who is Angie Extravaganza? Well, you'll have to keep tuning in and keep finding out. And you will at the end of the show. And there's something that I have to do every week before we start the show, and that is introduce Wency, the co-host, but not until I've done this, which is welcome to the show. You are listening to the New Blurt, but you still only have me, the host of the New Blurt. So now it's time for What Say?
Hey. I think they're supposed to be cheering in the background. I can't hear anything.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No. I think it's either technology is doing the worst of us or not cooperating, or it's just on my end. I'm not hearing anything. But yes, thank you for the applause out there, because I do feel it. I'm that sensitive to it.
Yes, you are very sensitive to it. But I'm really sad that you can't hear that. It was a very special applause. They were very happy. You could hear it.
Yeah, I always look forward to that. Oh, you disappeared into the brick wall.
Yes, I did.
Yes. Here we are for another week of fun and frivolity and whatever else we do on this show.
Absolutely. And as the show's title is alluding to, I think
who is that about?
Yeah, it's been a fun and frivolity-tighted week by our ex-Prime Minister that I can't believe we're still bloody well talking about. It's just...
He's made a comeback big time in the last 8 days, hasn't he?
It's just, honestly, to God, can't we just get rid of... Can't he just go away under a rock and piss off? I mean, seriously, I'm just sick of it.
Yes, he does seem to have that messiah complex about him, doesn't he? That he was above everyone else, that he had to control everything and he had to have the last say and everything else. So, yeah.
Well, absolutely. And talking about that, I was just, I mean, if no one knows what we're talking about the ex-Prime Minister who decided that he would be the job messiah, i.e. have the jobs for all.
Yes. Without telling anyone, of course, which we found out today was perfectly legal, but does that undermine the idea of democracy? That he was appointed all these roles without the public knowing and without his own ministers knowing.
Yeah, and the interesting thing was too, last week we found out that apparently he apologized to different ministers, but apparently that didn't happen.
No, yeah, I heard that.
Apparently he didn't apologize at all.
No.
Which, it doesn't surprise me in any way, shape or form.
And he didn't actually make the phone call either. It was more of the other part he got calling ScoMo saying, hey, I heard this rumor that you did this, this and this. And Scotty says, oh, yeah, that. I did. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's what it's all about. Yeah, nah, sorry. No, it's spot on. 100%. Yeah, no, look, it's off the charts. I mean, Christina Holgate, the person that was bullied out of her CEOdom in the post office during the pandemic, which was absolutely disgraceful, the way that was done. That's workplace bullying 101. The fact they couldn't do more in the Parliament, I was really surprised by, because it was just disgraceful. Anyway, it's really interesting that he just happened to had sworn himself in as finance minister when she got the boot.
Right. Coincidence?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I definitely don't think so. But
no.
Yeah, look, Sarah Martin from the Guardian's come out and said that, if you're expecting any sort of blowback on, you know, for him to get his comeuppance, if you like, you're going to be sorely disappointed. But I mean, you know, these Teflon people are like that.
Yeah.
It's interesting because right. Okay. Okay.
It's interesting.
Right.
What's
Yes,
happening?
it is interesting. Absolutely. Just talking to you. So are we getting sound at the moment? Is there any sound happening?
Not that I've heard since we started the show. So hopefully the next one will
really
come out. Yes.
Well, I think we should try this again then.
All right, let's try it. The joys of going live, people. Viewers,
yeah, the joys.
Listeners.
You're not hearing anything, are you?
No. I don't know if you're hearing it on your side.
Yeah, I am.
Which is interesting because we did the checks prior to the show, as we always do every week.
Yes, absolutely. And everything's telling me it should be fine. So I don't understand.
Interesting.
Anyway, if I have to add stuff in afterwards, I can. So that's fine.
Yes.
Has just unmuted your screen.
No, that's okay. That was me just testing.
All right. Okay. Oh, look, it's just all happening here tonight. Anyway, so yes. So no, absolutely. So when we were talking about the Messiah complex at all, you've got old Orange Head over there getting pretty upset about the amount of documents. 300 documents apparently have been taken.
Really? Is that how many?
Yeah, 300. And many of them were labeled secret and secret and top secret and extremely sensitive information.
Wow.
Yeah.
And let me guess, I bet he didn't have it in a super secure location. It's probably just sitting on his desk with a bit of paperweight on top.
No,
No?
I have to give him a slight little bit of credit. I think he had it in the Mar-a-Lago safe.
Right. Okay.
But you could imagine what sort of creatures go through his Mar-a-Lago club. And if he's got access to that shit personally, you know, he can basically just open up his safe and say, let's check out the nuclear codes. Do you want to just have a look? I mean,
look at this, people. Look at this, friends. Look, I'm showing you the secret codes. And
yeah, it's just ridiculous because, you know, you've got these nut jobs over there that, you know, some nut job went into the FBI office and he was all armed up with a nail gun and an AR-15 and all the rest of it. And
wow.
Yeah, he's just a nut job. Anyway, they killed him, which is good. One less mega supporter. And I don't know, they're just so thick. Why you would ever just follow this guy down the toilet? Just keep following him. I don't understand. You know, it's yeah. I mean, he is an absolute blurt on society. There's no doubt about it. He's you know, I mean, what's interesting is especially when the Christina Holgate thing came out that he was ScoMo was finance minister at the time. I just thought, my God, this last government is just sounding more Trumpy by the day. You know, the amount of stuff that's coming out of it. It's just
it's very presidential, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is indeed. But anyway, that was then. This is now. What's going on in your world at the moment, mate? Are you busy as all get out? What's the weather like?
Definitely work-wise, busy as all get out, and it just hasn't stopped since I started, which is good.
Good and
I
bad.
Guess. Good and bad. Yes. I'm surprised I haven't got any grayer hairs developed over the last 4 weeks.
Has it been a little bit of a baptism of fire? Has it?
Yeah, pretty much thrown it in the deep end.
Has anyone given you any floaties or?
One. I got one. I'm floating on one, so one's okay, and just the other one, I'm just lopsided at the moment.
Right. Okay. Cool. So you're blowing on that whistle with that life jacket. Is that right? Oh, excellent. Fantastic. Please don't tell me that your computer has rebooted again, because that's gonna be crap. Okay, so it looks like we've lost Wincy. Hopefully Wincy will be back. I know he wants to come back because I don't want to carry the whole show by myself. But there are a couple of things that we can do. And one of them is, yes, his PC's done again. But one of them is this. So I think we'll do this. Now, I can only hope that people are hearing these things that are being played. If not, I can't do much about it. But what I will do is I will do this, which is the COVID countdown. And talking about countdown, it's been in the news and the papers that The Voice, John Farnham, has gone for surgery for cancer. So all the best to Johnny, as it were. I've seen John Farnham a few times live, and he is absolutely sensational. And I wish him all the best. In all intents and purposes, he's meant to be a very nice guy. So he did a really good Christmas album, actually, with Olivia Newton-John a couple of years ago. I've still got that, and it's one of my favorite Christmas albums now. So, yeah, it's interesting that, those two are sort of getting to that age that we all get to at some stage where ailments get to us, and we're just not sure what's going to happen on the other side. But hopefully all is good. We'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. But all the best anyway to him. Absolutely magnificent artist. And maybe we might put a link to The Voice on in our show notes. So, but talking about the actual COVID countdown, hello.
Hello, apologies.
Hello, Frank from National Tiles. How you going?
Yeah, better now that I'm back, and I apologise to viewers and listeners.
What is it with this laptop? It seems to
It's a PC, and it just keeps dying when I've got a camera going for whatever reason, which is
not good.
Not good, especially when you're going live.
Yeah, no, it's not helping anyone. It's definitely not good. It's definitely not good. I was just going to talk about more than half of all destinations remain at high COVID risk, the CDC says.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was talking about the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, it's the US government agency. And they've had lots of fun, as I say, conversations with Anthony Fauci, who is the guy, epidemiologist who was in charge of all the COVID in America at the time. And
great friend of Trump, of course.
Yes, Orange Head loved him. yes, spot on, absolutely. He's a loser. But no, he wasn't actually. He knows exactly what he's doing. So
he knows his stuff.
Oh, he sure does. Yes. He's not injecting hydrochloroquine into his freaking arm to clean it out.
And he's retiring at the end of the year, I believe.
I believe so. I think he's 70 plus, I think.
Yeah.
So, fair enough. He's gone through some turmoil.
Yeah.
So,
like you alluded to earlier, he also went through the HIV/AIDS thing back in the 80s.
Well, actually, you're 100% correct, but
you mentioned other things, but he did do that as well.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. In fact, I think he was like right on the front line on that one. He was very much one of the first doctors out there, sort of saying how it is spread and trying to stop the misinformation. So yeah, no, you're 100% correct on that one. But the US Centers for Disease and Control have a list of nations and territories which is high risk to COVID. And the high risk one is designated as level 3. and still accounts for almost 130 of roughly 235 places monitored by the CDC. So of the 235 places that they monitor, which is places is countries and, et cetera, are cities. But I think it is. It's definitely countries, but it may be cities as well on top of that. It still accounts for almost 130 of that, which is a third basically. Well, actually, nowhere near that, is it? It's 50% basically. No, it's more than 50%. Yeah, so more than 50% is the highest designation that they give it, basically. So level 3 became the top rung in terms of risk level in April after the CDC overhauled its rating systems. And level 3 includes France, Germany, Greece, Ireland, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Spain, and the United Kingdom. Wow. So, yeah, they're saying that there's still very high levels of COVID in the high-risk category. In the level 2 category, you're looking at countries like Cuba and Namibia. So the way it works out is designations carrying level 2 would be 50 to 100 COVID-19 cases per 100,000 residents in the past 28 days.
Yeah.
Whereas the level 3 is, just let me do the level 3. The level 3 is more than 100 cases per 100,000.
Right. Okay.
So, it can be up to double, as it were. There's only 19 places listed as level 2 this week, and some more visited places in the category are India, Kenya, and South Africa, or Africa. You can view the CDC's risk levels for any global destination on the agency's travel recommendation page. Might stick that in the show notes, maybe, if anyone wants to have a look. And level 1, I should have a drum roll, really, shouldn't I? Yeah, that's what I need. I need one of them, but I don't think I've got a drum roll. That's terrible. That wasn't terrible, though. But it does tell me I needed to get one. I definitely need
Yes, we do need to get some extra sound effects for the show.
Yes. I might chat to you about that in our workshops, actually, what ones we need. Anyway, to be listed as level 1, the destination must have had 49 or fewer cases per 100,000 residents.
Australia on the list. Crossing my fingers.
Only one new place was added to the category on August 22, and that was Saudi Arabia, which had been at level 2. Just 22 places were in the low-risk category this week. A few of the more popular places with world travellers in the low-risk category this week includes Egypt and Tanzania. Yeah, so go to Egypt and not get COVID, but maybe just get killed in general.
Take your pick.
So, yeah, good luck. Good luck with that one. So what have we got? We got transmission rates are just one guidepost for travellers, personal risk calculations according to. Yeah, so basically what they're saying is now it's a free-for-all. That's what they're saying. So there's some information I was reading on this before, which is, here we go. Yeah, here we go. So US-bound travellers no longer have to present a negative COVID-19 test to get home from international destinations.
Similar to what we are doing now, I think. I don't think there's restrictions here anymore.
No, I don't think so. There was when we went to New Zealand, there was, but I don't think there is this time when we go. I think it's all smooth sailing, I believe. Yeah. But the CDC still advises testing before boarding flights back to the States and not traveling if you are sick. Well, obviously. And if you're concerned about travel, specific health information, situation not related to COVID, check here, etc. Anyway, I just thought we'd take a different tangent on COVID, and so I thought we'd have a look at some different, other things rather than cases, etc. I thought we'd just have a chat how other countries are dealing with it, and We
and
know it's still
which
real.
countries you should travel to or not travel to,
Yeah, absolutely.
based on the risks.
Yeah, well, as you probably know, I mean, Europe is, pretty much getting to the end of their summer, which means everyone's going to be inside.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting where that all goes going forward.
Yeah.
So
and from memory, it gets worse over winter, obviously. So
yeah, so we are coming out the other side.
yeah.
So
our numbers should get lower over the next few months, whereas theirs will get higher. Yeah, and so goes the cycle, like it does every other year.
which isn't a good thing to say, since we've only had it since 2020.
No, but when you take into consideration other flus and colds that do the rounds, so that this is just now becoming another one to add to the list that.
So and then it's interesting you say that too, because I wonder if they're obviously working on new shots for next year.
I'm guessing there will be. I keep hearing that there's going to be some nasal ones, like a spray, that might be easier to administer, and
I'm not. The needles. I find the needles so unintrusive that I don't have any. No problem.
It's no biggie.
I don't have any. No, I don't think so. But people that are dead scared of them, it'd be good for the nasal side. So
I don't know what the nasal ones cover, whether it's covers most of the variants or whether it's specific to one or two. Yeah. More research needs to be done.
Probably does. All right, my friend, what do you got for us, COVID?
So that what we've just been chatting about leads onto my segment, is that, so early on in the pandemic, scientists and experts had already started to predict that 30 to 40% of people with COVID were not aware that they had COVID. Either because they were asymptomatic or had such mild symptoms that people mistook it as just being a regular cold or flu or allergies even. Even my oldest...
Was this before we had the vaccines?
And this is prior to the vaccine, so that was early on. So, so prior to the vaccines being widely available, those findings... so before I get onto this bit, the CDC, as you were talking in your section, have been in the US, have been working with the American Red Cross and other blood banks in the US, studying blood donors. And so they've been asking the blood donors, have you had COVID and or not? So the people who said they didn't have COVID, they've been doing some random tests on the blood samples to check for COVID-19 antibodies. So the antibodies obviously being the proteins that our body makes after exposure to a virus to fight off any infection. So those antibodies, prior to the vaccines being widely available, so 2020 up until, I guess, mid-2021, when it became really available, they found that 3.5% of blood donors had those antibodies in July 2020, which then went up to 20.2% in May of 2021. So that was probably most likely due to natural antibodies by the sounds of it, because the vaccines weren't widely available by then. So in the space of a year or just under, it went up 7 times in antibodies that they discovered. And since May 2021 up until very recently, that figure's gone up to approximately 83% of those blood donors have antibodies. But that's a combination of natural antibodies as well as those derived from the vaccines that we've been getting in the last year or so. So, and that's based on about 1.4 million blood donations in the USA. So,
okay. So that's a USA statistic as well.
Yeah, exactly. So the CDC been doing all that research since the pandemic started. So
So they basically think that they had way more cases than they have reported. Is that what we're
correct.
saying?
Yeah, pretty much. And many people just having it for COVID without even realizing they had it. So
and does that go for deaths as well? Like, did people die and not realize they died with COVID?
I'm not sure if they did that study. This is specific to blood donation. So
sorry.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if there's a study out there for those who did pass away with COVID. Yeah, not sure.
Do you know how unaltruistic the US is? They actually pay you to give blood.
Really?
They do. They pay you to give blood, and that's why they give blood, because they get paid. And what happens is...
Yeah, no, you go first.
No, all I was going to say is what happens is it creates a really sinister cycle, because the junkie goes in to give blood so he can get his or her, whatever, to get their drugs, basically. And then you have the gangs waiting outside the blood banks for the junkies to come out. And then the junkies see the gangs who are selling the drugs, and they get the drugs, and they've got the money because they've just been given blood, and then they don't have any money again.
Right.
So it's a horrible cycle. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's a bad cycle. Because I was going to say, we get paid here as well, but we get paid in biscuits and orange juice and little treats at the end.
No, you don't. You don't.
Doesn't it happen anymore?
No, look, I'm disgusted. I'm totally disgusted.
Doesn't it happen here anymore? I haven't donated blood in years.
I gave blood for ages, and I think I was up to 40 something. I think I was going to get to my 50th this year or something. But because, as you know, I had cancer, I had skin cancer, I had the melanoma. I'm not allowed to give blood for at least 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it's been a real bummer, to be honest, because I like doing that. It's my way of giving back, and I've got O negatives, so everyone can use my blood. So they always want it, so they weren't happy, and I was less happy because it's something I like to be able to do. So
but do they give the biscuits and juices afterwards, though? They still do it?
Well, they used to have, when I first started going there years ago, when my daughter was a kid, she was 6 months or a year old, etc. They used to have this fantastic lady, and they'd always make milkshakes. So it was great. I'd get in there, have my 3 party pies, milkshake, couple of packs of chips, piece of fruitcake. But no, it's all changed a bit now. But it used to be really cool, because I'd be like the only bloke coming in with a baby at the time, and she was always good. She just sat in the corner and chilled out, and then all the nurses were there and just said hello, and they loved talking to her, blah blah blah. But what was interesting was, as she got a little bit older, etc., and she wasn't with me anymore, they still knew who I was, and so there was heaps of nurses over the last sort of best part of 20 years that if I go in and give blood, they'll know who I am because of her. So funny. just a small digression story.
Yeah, just a small one. So back to whether you have COVID or not, or whether you do or don't know.
Oh God, not again. Please tell me not again. God, no. Oh God, please tell me not again. You're going to have to do something about this PC. Seriously, it's not good. I think you have to use your work laptop. I think that's what's going to have to happen here. I think I'm going to have to remove Wency again, unfortunately. Wency has, died. No, he hasn't died. The PC's died. So, no need for... Wency's with us, but the PC's died. But what we will do is we'll do a bit of Blurt on Blighty. So, what's going on in the UK? Blurt on Blighty, eh? What are we going to do? Well, Yeah, so tonight I thought we might take again a little bit of a different tangent with the UK. There's always different things happening, and obviously you can go down the political route, etc. But I thought it was interesting. Criminal barristers in England and Wales are voting to go out on strike. Now that is not something that you hear every day. So I thought it was interesting to talk about what's actually happening there. And you would be really, really surprised to know that criminal barristers, especially junior barristers in the UK, I don't know about Australia or America or whatever, but in the UK, do not get paid very well at all. And this is when they are working for the government. They do not get paid very well at all. It's been reported that they can get paid as little as £13,000 a year. And if you know how that translates, it translates to around about 22,000 Australian dollars per year. So it's not particularly great. You're going to have to blow this PC up, my friend. Seriously.
I think I'll have to.
It's not happening. But I don't know how many times this has happened now.
It's twice today, and it's happened once before.
Yeah, it did. It happened when we were in Hobart, and I was on the crap PC.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was just explaining that barristers, criminal barristers in particular, in the UK have just gone out on strike, and Wales have got a vote to go out on strike. It's not something you hear every day. You don't hear about criminal barristers going out on strike. No. And I was just explaining the reason is because they're so badly paid. And over the last, I think since 2006, their pay has gone down by 28%. The thing about criminal barristers and the ones we're talking about here is that these are the ones that are working for the government.
Okay, yeah, that explains a lot.
Yeah, it does. It does. Indeed, it does. And it's actually pretty terrible. I had no idea it was this bad. So the CBA, which is the Criminal Bar Association, is asking for a 25% increase on pay, which, as you can imagine, is a bit of a gambit, a high gambit claim that most people would just go, 25%? Are you kidding me? You want another quarter of your pay? But when you look at how bad the pay is for how many hours they do, it's you go, well, I'm not sure. But the government said that they're happy to give 15%. But the CBA has said that wouldn't kick in immediately, and it might not apply to existing cases either. So the way they're going to retrofit this sounds pretty bad.
I'm assuming it'll be staged as well over time. Yeah,
it doesn't sound good at all. But the current strike action means members are already scheduled to strike on the 30th of August. So the last working day will be on Friday, which would be next Friday.
Next week, yeah.
Oh, actually, no, this Friday. Yeah, this Friday.
No, 30th.
Yeah.
That's next week. Today's the 23rd.
Last working day will be on Friday. Yes, but they're going to strike on the 30th, which I think is a Tuesday.
Oh, that's Tuesday next week, yeah.
Yeah. So they're obviously, going to strike. Yeah, so they're not going to work on Monday, it looks like. So that'll be interesting. So out of 2,273 votes, an overwhelming 1,808, 80% voted to escalate the strike. And 207 in favor of stopping all action. So yeah, it's quite interesting. I was really quite surprised by it all, to be honest.
Yeah.
Christy Brimlow, QC Vice Chair of the Criminal Bar Association, said the strike action was the last resort. She told BBC Breakfast, which is a morning radio program over there, barristers have had to endure collapses in their income and cuts and underfunding, so their income has decreased, as I talked about before, since 28% since 2006. The remedy is for injection of money into the backlog of cases, which currently stands at 60,000 cases. That the 60,000 cases that the barristers are working on, but that'll cost the government 1.1 million. 1 million? Is it that way? 1 million? I'm not sure how you do it. Is it like that? Is it like that? I'm not sure.
1 million.
Yes, something like that. 1 million per month, she said. So it's currently costing the courts much more than that to sit empty because they don't have enough people doing it at the moment. So just a couple little bits of information here. The escalation of the strike is wholly unjustified considering we are increasing criminal barristers' fees by 15%. This is the Conservative government over there, this Bojo's lot. Which will see a typical barrister earn around £7,000 more a year, she said. But that's, as I said, £7,000, it's nothing. It's like 12 grand. If you're only getting 25 grand, another 12, I mean, it's 12, but it's still terrible.
Yeah.
It's like eating dog shit, put sugar on it. It's still terrible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, I don't.
Wouldn't recommend it.
No.
Not part of the food group that I would recommend.
Yeah, I got a feeling. I think someone's tried that who's been listening to the show. Yeah, you don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't take our advice. We're not foodologists here, so
no,
that's fine.
No.
But the opposition leader, Keir Starmer, he's a former barrister. He said the government was doing absolutely nothing to resolve industrial disputes, including the row with the criminal barristers. And it's just saying here, responding to comments that criminal lawyers were perceived to be paid well, which is exactly what I thought.
I would have thought.
And she admitted that those high up the scale were very fortunate. But she also said the median pay for a junior barrister was $12,700 per year, which is terrible. Yeah, I'm dead set serious. That's why I thought this was really interesting because I was really quite blown away by it. I was like, I can't believe this is true. So, so some 6,235 court cases were disrupted during the 19 days of industrial action from the 27th of June to 5th of August, including 1,415 trials, according to the government. So as you can imagine, if their courtrooms are going to be empty, they're going to be losing money all the time because you've got people in there like the judge and all the rest of it. I imagine is still getting paid.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. It's pretty terrible, and I wholly agree with you. So just a couple of things here, just to explain a few things. So barristers are self-employed and often perceived highly paid. The median salary for a criminal barrister in 2019 and 20 was 80 grand, which is about 140, 150 grand Australian, which isn't
still
off the charts.
No.
Well, yeah, considering that a normal sort of DevOps engineer in senior DevOps nowadays can probably pull about 160 all up.
Yeah.
So, that's not a lot of money for a lawyer, or a barrister or whatever. So,
yeah, it's considering the hours that they pull just to do all their research on their cases and stuff.
Exactly right. 100% right. But that figure falls to 56,000 once the expenses are accounted for. So,
I wonder what expenses they.
Well, I'm assuming. I don't know. I've got to be honest. But I'm assuming lunch and. I mean,
those 2-hour lunches with all that booze.
I've got to tell you, when I worked for BNP Paribas years ago, I remember seeing a lunch receipt come in from one of the traders, and I think it was £500, and that was 20 years ago.
Wow! And for 2 people?
Yeah, I think it was. It was
serious?
People. Yeah, wow. It wasn't a lot. It was like 2 or 3, 4 people, £500 for lunch. Thanks very much.
Wow.
And claimed it, I think, and was paid it back, I think. So
right.
These were the same guys that parked out the front in no parking areas every day, all day.
And just happy to pay the fine.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Just keep putting on my Maserati. All good.
Yeah, yeah.
All good. No problems. But anyway, so barristers with 0 or 1 to 2 years of practice earned a median of £25,000 before expenses and a net figure of 18,800 after expenses. That's phenomenal. Because 20 years ago, when I was doing desktop support, I was earning more than that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's criminal.
Yes.
Boom, boom, tish.
I know. That was very good. No, that was very, very good. But I don't know where my... I'm so annoyed with that one.
All right, we need to work on our sound effects.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, but it's too short. It's just far too short.
93 episodes in, you'd think we'd get the sound effects right by now.
Wouldn't you just? I mean, seriously, I can't believe that is not the case, but it seems to be the case. So anyway, that is my blurt on Blighty, and I hope you learnt a little there.
Alrighty, yeah, no, definitely did. How not to go into
criminal barrister. No,
Yeah.
don't do that. It seems not the right thing to do.
No, definitely not. I'm going to lighten the mood a little bit. The
cool.
Edinburgh Fringe Festival is happening in Edinburgh, of course. Hence the title.
That seems like a good place for it to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, glad it's not in Coventry or somewhere else like that.
Wow, you just all of a sudden got really loud.
Did I? Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, that's okay.
Helps if I get the mic closer to my mouth.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Edinburgh Fringe
down
Festival is on, and every year for the last few years, the local TV channel called Dave.
Yes.
You've heard of Dave?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've watched Dave. Yeah.
Yeah, so Dave, for those who are unaware, is a British free-to-air TV channel owned by UK TV, which is a subsidiary of the BBC Studios. It broadcasts mainly comedy and some factual programming. So obviously quite interested in this comedy section of the Fringe Festival. So they do a yearly joke competition. And and then they get people to vote in an online poll, and the winner this year was a comedian by the name of Massey Graham, who has won that competition previously in 2016. He is actually a care worker, so he looks after severely autistic young adults. So doesn't earn that much money, probably almost as much, or if not more than a criminal lawyer, most likely.
Yes, probably less. Yeah,
but he saves up his annual leave every year to spend the 3 or 4 weeks at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, because that goes for 20 odd days. So he's part-time comedian, part-time care worker.
Wow.
So 2016, he won the joke with the following. He said, "My dad suggested I register for a donor card. He's a man after my own heart."
Oh, God.
The worst or funny part of that joke.
Oh, man.
The funny part of that joke is the following day, Massey suffered a mild heart attack.
Oh, God, no.
Obviously, he lived to tell the tale, because this year, the joke that won it.
Oh, yes.
His joke this year was,
he won again.
Yes, so he won it again this year. So this year, he won it with, "I tried to steal spaghetti from the shop, but the female guard saw me and I couldn't get past her."
Oh, man.
It's a doozy. Do you want to hear 9 more from different contestants?
Oh, go on.
All right. Did you know if you get pregnant in the Amazon, it's next day delivery? Where's my Amazon?
Oh, Jesus, I was slow on that. that was very good. But
yeah, that was good.
I was very slow on that. Very slow.
My attempts to combine nitrous.
Oh, man.
Next one is my attempts to combine nitrous oxide and oxo cubes, which is Made. Let me start again. My attempts to combine nitrous oxide and oxo cubes made me a laughing stock.
Oh my giddy.
It gets better or worse.
Oh,
I'm not
it's
sure
got
which
to.
way.
It must.
By my age, my parents had a house and a family, and to be fair to me, so do I. But it's still the same house and the same family. Next one. I hate funerals. I'm not a mourning person. I spent the whole morning building a time machine, so that's 4 hours of my life that I am definitely getting back. I sent a food parcel to my first wife, FedEx. Fed the X. That's terrible. That's a bad one.
Absolutely disgraceful.
Got 3 more doozies. I used to live hand to mouth. Do you know what changed my life? Cutlery. That's a good one. I really like that.
That's very, very good.
Don't knock threesomes. Having a threesome is like hiring an intern to do all the jobs you hate. All right, we'll go on to the next one. Based on that look on your face.
I obviously wasn't fast enough to get it.
Okay. I'll let you think about that one. And the last one that was on the in the top 10 list was I can't even be bothered to be apathetic these days.
No, that's pathetic. I don't like that.
And the last piece of news from the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and this is really sad. The traditional 45-minute fireworks that finishes off the festival will not be performed this year, citing COVID and lack of preparedness, apparently. They had 3 years to prepare. I don't know why they didn't have time to prepare this one.
I thought that was a joke.
No, there wasn't a joke.
Oh,
no, that was
a serious. The same tone.
That was a serious one.
So I thought this is another joke.
No pun. No pun in this one.
No pun. Just bad news.
Just bad news. Just ending on a.
Oh wow.
Hopper.
Okay. Yeah. No. Look, I've been very fortunate. I've been to the festival a few times, and the first time I ever went, I was really lucky because I went to England for the first time, and I went to the festival 2 weeks before it actually officially started. And I don't know if they still do it now, but in those days, what they used to do was they'd give out free flyers to their shows, and especially if you were in backpackers or whatever, they would just, they deliver heaps of free flyers to the backpackers. So you get all these free shows before they officially started.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it was awesome.
You're the guinea pigs.
Oh yeah, I saw so many free shows. It was absolutely awesome. So
yeah, I wonder if they still do that.
It would be interesting, this capitalistic world of ours, if they still do that. But it was lovely that you spoke about the festival. Is that, I gather, no? Was that finished in a couple of days?
28th of August.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a big shout out to Gabby Bolt. Not necessarily a friend of the show, but we're a friend of hers, and I went and saw her show at the Butterfly Club when in the Melbourne Comedy International Festival. She's very good. She got lots of good raps in Adelaide, and she's part of the Chaser group. And she's got a lovely voice, and yes, she's very funny with her songs, etc. Anyway, she's in Edinburgh doing a fantastic job.
Nice.
She's been having a good time there, I think. It was interesting. She'd done a really good show, and I think she'd had really good reviews for it, etc. And then, and I think her birthday was on some particular night. And she said she was celebrating. There was a picture of her celebrating having her birthday. She was sitting there eating yogurt in a room by herself.
Oh no, so sad. Did she have a candle at least in there?
I don't think she did, but it was sad. It seemed very sad, It's I'll tell you. But something that isn't sad is.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, went seeing the Kickstar. How's it going? Happy 50th!
Now, I play that because that wonderful man should be, hopefully, with a bit of luck, on this show in 7 weeks' time. So,
and hopefully with a new sting, with a new recording, so I can catch up with the 100th episode.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get him to say it. We'll get him to say it on the show right at the end, and then we can just record it. So that'll be nice and easy. But so Dan's got heaps of stuff coming up here. I don't know if you know, but he was just on the Insiders this last weekend,
Yes,
which is a story in itself, because he wasn't allowed back on the ABC for a long time because of all of his climate change posters that he sent out internationally, and the McEngadine situations with his posters before the election, and et cetera, et cetera. So doing lots of satirical stuff that maybe the
ABC just didn't like.
Correct. So it was interesting to see him be back. But
Yes,
absolutely. Talking about things that you do like is this.
Hi, and welcome to Great People That Did Stuff.
That's right. We're up to that segment where we just lift up the mood and talk about interesting people. Did you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Great People That Did Stuff. Well, I thought maybe you go first.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to talk about a lovely lady by the name of Daphne Seeney, who was born in 1934 in Harden Murrumburra, which is in New South Wales, a little bit south of Cowra, just northwest of Canberra, so middle of New South Wales, I guess. At the age of 17, she broke her back in a horse riding accident, which left her paraplegic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that didn't stop her though. She was during her rehabilitation over the few years after that, during 7 or 8 years, she had she started to like sports and got into the Paralympic Games, which were being talked about in the late 50s. So she was the very first Australian woman to attend the 1960 Rome Paralympics.
Wow.
Which is, and she took up swimming and won 2 gold, one in the 50-meter breaststroke and one in the 50-meter crawl. Is that the breaststroke?
No. The crawl is freestyle, I believe.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
So they must have renamed it to freestyle at some point.
Yes. When did they call it the crawl? What year was that?
That was 1960s. So
I
know we used to have the Australian crawl, which was different again. I don't know.
Well, no, the Australian crawl is the freestyle.
Oh, okay.
And obviously the band.
Yes, of course. So at those games, not only did she win those 2 golds, she won 3 silver medals in archery, the women's club throw, and the javelin. Club throw is where they throw what looks like a 10-pin bowling pin, and they flick it and see how far they can throw it. So so she did swimming, track and field, and she also won a bronze in shot put in that year. So that was the 1960 Games, Paralympics. Then she competed in the 62 Commonwealth Paraplegic Games, where she won 8 gold medals and 1 silver. And that was played in Perth, Western Australia. So she won those medals in athletics, again, archery and swimming. She then competed in the 64 Summer Paralympics in Tokyo, where again, she won more gold in table tennis this time.
Where is she from?
New South Wales.
Oh, right. She's Australian.
Yeah, Aussie. She
amazing.
won
You don't hear about these people, do you?
No,
it's just
no.
phenomenal.
exactly.
Just badass women.
She also won at the 64 Summer Paralympics a silver medal in the women's 50-meter freestyle prone event, which would be swimming. 3 bronze medals in the women's Albion round in archery. Freestyle again in swimming for another bronze. So she's just a medal
Machine.
queen. Yeah.
She is a machine. She's a
She
queen
is.
machine.
She
She's
then
unbelievable.
competed in the 66 Commonwealth Paraplegic Games, again winning 6 gold medals this time in various sports. So she never really focused on one sport. She just competed in many.
Yeah, I've
many,
heard of multi-instrumentalist, but she is a multi-sportist.
Yep. She won
Phenomenal.
further medals in the 68 Summer Paralympics.
My God, how many did she go to?
So many. That was the last of the big ones. So by 1968, she would have been in her late 30s. So she probably retired after that.
I would have thought so.
She then competed in the 2002 World Wheelchair Games, where she took up lawn bowls and other events. So she's just been busy winning gold. But she also was very inspirational. One person who commented on her was a lady by the name of Daniela Di Toro, who said that Daphne...
Why do I know that name? Do I know that
I'll
name?
get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Danny said of Daphne, Daphne shone a light on a path for all women with disabilities in this country to reach for the very best in themselves. Now, Danny was, I'm not sure if she still is, but she plays tennis, wheelchair tennis, and she became, I think, a paraplegic as well after competing in a school swimming event in 1988, where a wall collapsed and fell on her. Now, the school that she went to was my high school.
Oh, you're kidding.
And I think from memory, I was at that swim event
at the same time.
Day, or the day before, or around that time, because we used to have big swim, because we had a swimming pool on campus. And
is she Victorian?
Yeah, so she grew up in Dandenong, which is where I went to school. So she went to St. John's Regional College, same as me. So she was 2 years younger than me. So yeah, I do remember that story. And so she took up tennis, became champion herself in wheelchair tennis. What did she do? She won the 2010 French Open doubles champion.
That wall didn't stop her.
No, hell no. She's competed at the Rio Paralympics, where she was team captain with Kurt Fernley. She also went to the 2020 Tokyo Paralympics. So yeah, Danny Di Toro is also quite inspirational.
Oh, look, without a shadow of a doubt, and that inspiration comes from what they've done, not just existing because they have a disability. I mean, they're far beyond existing. They're doing stuff that we could not even think about. It's just ridiculous. Some of the feats that they have accomplished. It's just absolutely incredible. One thing I was going to say, or at least ask, is because I think this might be the case now. They don't have a Paralympics anymore. Don't they just call it the Olympics and they have a Paralympic sports inside it?
I think the Tokyo one, they did them back to back from memory.
Yeah.
The Com Games that was done recently, I think they
integrated
did them together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think makes a lot more sense. They should start.
Well, I think that's
make
a great
it
idea.
3 weeks instead of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And just intersperse them with able-bodied and the Paralympians.
Yeah, but you don't need to call it Paralympian Games. Just call it the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
That has, athletes and
of all abilities.
Athletes, that's right. Athletes of all abilities. That's exactly the way. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Superb.
Yep. See, we're
That is
solving the
all-
world's problems. That's the way we should do it.
That is a beautiful job. Absolute beautiful job there. Fantastic.
So with you, my friend.
Well,
What have
I've
you
got a
got?
lady here called Angie Extravaganza, and you've
Oh,
probably
love
never
that
heard of her. It's a great name. I've never heard of her, but there was a New York Times article a while ago that said that a mother is one who raises a child, not one who borns it, i.e., gives birth to it. And Angie Extravaganza was called the house mother, and she was a mother to dozens of LGBTQI children and adults who were rejected by society. So not a lot's known about her early life, but she was on the streets of New York at about 13. Then she joined the house of what they call extravaganza, one of the most well-known houses in the underground ballroom scene in New York. And it provided surrogate families for gay and gender conforming and transgender youth, and were run by a house father and a house mother. As mother to the house of extravaganza, Angie cared for all its members, guiding them through the world of 1980s New York ballroom scene. These ballrooms were places of acceptance, security, and celebration for LGBTQ plus people of all ages. The scene is most famous for creating the voguing dance style and being the subject of Paris is Burning documentary. So yeah, if you haven't seen
heard of that
one,
doco.
definitely one to look up. Paris is Burning. We will definitely have it in the show notes. See if I can get a trailer for it. So, but the sad news is that at only 28 years, she left us. But her legacy lives on through the House of Extravaganza, which is still a vibrant and flourishing family today. And I think, I mean, you know, especially from your side, Wency, because you've got personal experience in this, I think that's just a fantastic thing that she did, especially in that time. That was a long time ago.
So that was 80s, you said?
Yeah, well, it says here that 1980, well, she was 28 when she died, and I think it's like the late 80s, maybe mid 80s. So therefore, that would have made her, what would that make her? 30, 50. Okay, so she must have been born in 52 or something. Is that right? Something like that.
Sounds about right, yeah, 50s. So she would have been going through all the AIDS epidemic.
Well, the AIDS epidemic was
84, wasn't it?
Was it? I honestly can't remember. I read a
80s.
brilliant book on that years ago. Not on the AIDS epidemic so much, but on I think it was oh god, I can't remember. Australian author. Actually, he's South African author. He wrote The Power of One. Can you remember who wrote The Power of One?
Yes. Keneally.
No, not
Was it
Thomas
Thomas Keneally?
No, he didn't write The Power of One. No. Come on. Where's Google when you need it? Okay, Power of One. It's sorry, Power of One. Oh yeah, Bryce Courtney, of course.
Bryce Courtney, yes.
Yes, so Bryce Courtney's South African, well, African, I think South African / Australian author, and The Power of One is set in Africa. And if you've ever read the book, it's pretty awesome. And the film's pretty awesome too. But the reason I bring it up is because he also wrote heaps of other books. And one of the books he wrote, and I can't remember for the life of me what it's called, but it was actually about his son. And his son's a haemophiliac. And it was right around the time when the AIDS epidemic was rampant. And I don't know if you know, but at that time, what was happening was people like him, unfortunately, haemophiliacs, who have to get blood transfusions all the time. They were going into areas where AIDS patients were because they had to get blood transfusions all the time. And they were getting treated the same way by, you know, pretty thick and non-thinking, non-educated sort of people as the AIDS patients were. They were getting, very homophobic treatment. And this book shines a light on what was happening to them and how his son and himself sort of were able to get a read on what was happening to the AIDS patients and the people in those areas at the time, and how they were being treated. And then they sort of took that and went, okay, well, we need to do something about it because I've seen firsthand how you get treated if you're in this area, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I thought I'd just refer to that because it is to do with what we're talking about, isolation and LGBTQ plus and, homophobic sort of treatment for people that just don't know better, et cetera, et cetera. It's a great book. I'll see if I can bring it up at all. It's worth
While
reading.
you're doing that, AIDS was first identified in the US in 81, and in 84, 3 years later, scientists identified AIDS as being the disease, I guess, and the cause, and so it was that time period basically.
Yeah, no, it definitely is that time period. There's no doubt about that. He's written about 755 books, so it's hard to find it. But off the top of my head,
literally.
No.
Okay. I was going to say he's a very prolific author if he's done 750 books.
He's written a heap. He really has written a lot. I just remember what it's called, and it's called April Fool's Day.
Oh yeah.
And I'll probably put it in the show notes. And
is he the one who also wrote Flinders Cat or Captain Flinders Cat or something?
He wrote Four Fires, The Persimmon, which I read, which is really, really good. Potato Factory, awesome. Tandia, awesome.
Thomas
Keneally, you're right.
Or,
you're spot on.
Yeah?
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Matthew Flinders Cat.
Matthew Flinders Cat. That was an awesome book.
Yeah.
Definitely worth a read.
Yes.
As well.
Okay. Well, we will put those recommendations in the show notes for sure. Persimmon Tree is fantastic as well. He's just an amazing author. I think he is. And Solomon's Song as well. I've done a few of those on audio as well. And the people that used to do the audio was just off the charts. They were fantastic. The voices were just magnificent. But anyway, so as usual we digress a bit, but this one has to do with that one, so that's okay. Are you good there? I'm
Yep. You keep going with your second one. You've got a second one, I believe.
I do. I'm going to wrap it up quite quickly because we are going to time here, and I need to pick my daughter up soon. So need to
better get on with that.
But yes, I know. So I'll just get a couple of things happening here, and away we go. So we'll just get this happening, and I'll do that and that, and then I'll do that and that, and then I'll just do that and that. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. So I know. Yeah, time goes
fast. It goes fast when your PC dies twice during the show.
Yes, it does indeed. It does indeed do that.
So embarrassing.
Look, what can you do? Anyway, so so Penny Wong. Well, what can you say? I mean, most people know who Penny Wong is. She's a senator, leading the Senate for the Labor Party, and she's a badass figure in Australian politics. She's the first openly gay federal female politician in Australia, the first woman to be leader of the government in the Senate, and the first Asian-born cabinet minister. So she's pretty awesome. She was born in Kota Kinabalu, Malaysia, and moved to Australia with her family when she was 8 in 2001. And she was elected to represent South Australia in the Senate, and as a member of the Labor Party. She spent time as a member of the government and in opposition. She's got 2 daughters and a partner, Sophie Alawash, and she keeps most of her family to herself, which
I don't blame her.
I don't blame her at all. And she brought Alawash to her first senatorial swearing-in ceremony because she wanted to be open about her relationship. I'm not going to talk about this because it's going to be far too long, but that's why I never understood why she didn't stand up for same-sex marriage ages ago when she was in the Gillard government.
Right.
Yeah, so that's another thing for another day. But
yeah, exactly.
During the same-sex marriage debate in 2017, Wong campaigned for a yes vote and said, "Thank you for standing up for equality." She said, when the public referendum returned a resounding yes. Thank you for standing up for our families. There was a resounding yes in Tony Abbott's electorate as well. He was the only idiot that abstained on that vote. So, well, not the only one, but I mean, his electorate didn't. So, from a small town in Malaysia to the head of the Australian Senate, trailblazing Penny Wong. She shows how mums can challenge the status quo and create a better society for children. I think she's a gun. I think she's...
And she's so controlled when she's talking, which is what I like to see. Even when she's upset and angry and trying to tell us something that's important, she's so calm and collected when she delivers her whatever she's thinking and saying, which is quite refreshing.
She's measured, isn't she?
Yeah.
She is measured.
Yeah. Really.
As we try to be on the show from week to week. So,
Very measured.
Well, that's a lot tonight, people.
Yep.
Wency has to go before his PC dies again. So,
yes.
So
3 times the charm.
Yes, absolutely. We'll see you on the other side. As I said,
see you next week, everyone.
Yes, absolutely. We'll have Maria Taflaga on in a couple of weeks' time, just working out timings for that one. And we'll get Good Edie will come back in a few weeks' time as well. We haven't spoken to them for a little while, and they've had quite a lot happening, so it'd be good to catch up with those as well. So it's good night from me, people.
And also from me. Adios, everyone.
See you, people.
Enjoy your week.
Later, dude.
Ciao.